Hello guys, today's story is They Don't Want Us to Know. It is apparent today more than ever that our government has its own agenda against the American people. They would rather control and manipulate the ones they're supposed to protect. Stealing, murder, and experimentation are just some of the things they are guilty of. That's why I've decided to share a story that happened to me in my 20s. My father had recently passed and left me the family farm. It was about 20 acres with cows, pigs, and chickens. I always planned to take over the family business, but it happened sooner than I expected. After a long day of tending to the many animals, I was sitting on my porch, gazing up at the moon. It was hard work managing so much on your own, but memories of my old dad kept me going. I remember it was almost 9 o'clock, and I was about to call it a night. I took one last look at the starry sky before noticing something peculiar. A giant ball of fire came into view, instantly grabbing my attention. What is that? I wondered. As I watched, it made strange movements, whizzing back and forth or staying perfectly still. But the fire got bigger very fast, causing the object to crash into my cow field. What came after was a large explosion that sent all of my animals into a frenzy. I grabbed a flashlight and my father's rifle before rushing to the scene. What I saw there was something no one would ever believe. It was a metallic and circular object that was cracked open like an egg. As I moved closer, I was able to see inside. There were blinking lights, a small seat, and what seemed to be tiny controls. Before I could study this strange object, a voice called out to me. It was asking for help and nearly made me jump out of my skin. This is due to the fact that it didn't come from anywhere in the field, but instead, the voice called out to me in my own head. I darted around like a madman, thinking I'd gone crazy. But it was quick to calm me and promised I was all right. "It's okay, I'm hurt, come to me." Like I was hypnotized, I turned and walked a few feet away from the destroyed object. Laying on the edge of the crater was something out of this world. A small being about 3 feet tall, it had big bulging eyes and a giant head. Its body was covered in deep gashes from the crash. There was a strange gray liquid oozing from its wounds. I assumed it was blood. I kneeled down beside it, unsure of what to do. It slowly raised its 3-fingered hand and I grabbed onto it. His skin was gray and oily to the touch. It locked eyes with me before speaking telepathically again. "I'm in so much pain, human. I need you to finish me." I don't know what most folks would have done, but I didn't want to hurt this creature. I explained that I could call for help, that a hospital could save him. But alas, his words echoed in my head over and over. He was dying and wanted me to end his suffering. So I gripped my father's rifle and did what needed to be done. Unsure of what to do next, I called the police. The operator thought I was crazy, but you could see the smoke from miles away. So they had to send someone out. One cop car quickly turned into 2, then 3. The officers stood over the wreckage, confused and scared. I didn't blame them. I still didn't know what to make of all this. Pretty soon, military vehicles pulled down my one-way driveway. They parked in a way that was blocking us from viewing the wreckage. I sat on my porch for forever wondering what was going to happen. There were cops, government men in black suits, and at one point, even guys in hazmat suits. I was never into the paranormal, but even I knew something odd was going on here. That thing wasn't from this world, and they knew that. Hours passed, and it was after 2 a.m. A cop came up to me and told me everything was taken care of. He also said that there were going to be some people here to talk to me first thing in the morning. He was right about that. The very next day, I got a knock at my door. It was a man dressed in a black suit holding a briefcase. He told me his name was Frank and asked if he could come inside. I invited him in and put on some coffee. He took it black and sat at the table with a tired expression. "I'm just going to get straight to the point," he said. "Your land is of interest to the federal government. We'd like to offer you a substantial amount to buy it." He then put a briefcase on the table and opened it up. There was so much money that I nearly passed out. Stacks upon stacks of crisp $100 bills. The man handed me a clipboard and told me to sign on the dotted line. All that money seemed life-changing, but money couldn't make up for memories. My dad worked hard to build this place, and I had no right to sell it. I wiped the drool from my face and pushed the briefcase away. I explained that this was family land and I couldn't part with it. He let out a sigh and dropped his head. That's very unfortunate to hear. The money was worth far more than this dried-up old land. After offending me, he took the money and left. Things soon went back to normal, or so I thought. I got up early and tended to my farm like always, feeding all the animals and cleaning up after them. The first thing I noticed was that big 18-wheelers passed in front of my home. There were fleets of 4 and 5, followed by military vehicles. A different construction company rolled through every day. Late at night, I could hear helicopters flying over my property, so close that my entire house was shaking. My animals stayed spooked and running all over the place. I had no idea what they were doing. There were only woods out here. Things went like this for 5 months straight. Then I'd receive one last visit. Another black vehicle carrying my new buddy Frank. Only this time, he was accompanied by 2 armed soldiers. He greeted me with a handshake and a smile, then held up a stack of papers that would change my life. He said that my farm was on military property and I needed to leave. I told him he's crazy. This farm was built by my father 40 years ago. He referred to the papers again, assuring me this land had always belonged to Uncle Sam. I told him he needed to leave now before I called the police. The soldiers stepped up and told me I would be the one leaving. They stuck their rifles in my face and escorted me to my truck. What was happening? This was my home and they were taking it from me? I went to the police, lawyers, no one wanted to help me. Next thing I knew, I was on the streets with nowhere to go. As of my writing this, I'm living in a rundown apartment and working at a grocery store. I've gone back to my home several times and have been turned away. A giant fence was installed and I couldn't have any of my belongings. The worst part is, I know this is my land. They took everything. This all started when I discovered that creature. Perhaps they thought my land was a hotbed for extraterrestrials, and the US government wanted it no matter how low they had to sink. Regardless, my life was stolen, and I'm ready to tell my story. In this country, we're supposed to feel safe and live free. But there is a monster lurking just beneath the surface. One that will take what they want, when they want, and answer to nobody. One nation under lies and control. Fight back and they'll bury you, just like me. Thank you for following our story today. If you want to see more, please like and subscribe.